Going on, boys and girls? Okay, Charlie, Kirk, Charlie, whatever his name is. You know, I never even heard of the dude until after he died. And believe it or not, that's the way, most people get their message out a millionfold, 100,000-fold more, is because after they're martyred, after they're dead, it gets out even further, believe it or not. The man was preaching Jesus. The man was preaching faith. I seen a couple of his videos. Well done. But you're never going to overthrow Satan. Only God takes him out. You're never going to change this world. It's ran by Satan. It's ran by the people that you vote for. And unfortunately, society is too brain dead to do anything about it. So you're going to allow it. So hopefully guys like Charlie will influence somebody enough to turn their life around to Christ. And that's as good as you're going to get. Okay? A lot of people are weeping about this guy, but yet they're voting for demons. If you go right down the street, there's a clinic. And in that clinic, they're chopping up babies like chopped liver. Nobody gives a shit about that because you're too brain dead. You don't even you don't care. That has nothing to do with you. But it's going on right down the street and it's legal. Once again, if you're in your house and you kill a little child or you kill somebody, you're going to prison. But it's legal down here as long as there's money involved and you're paying for it. And Bill Gates can use the stem cells for research and doing what they want to do because they're monsters, they're demons, they're tyrants. And they own and control your little pea brain that has no concept of what they're really doing. So you vote for them. That's how demented and twisted and dumbed down and stupid most people really are. Anyway, one thing about Charlie, I noticed they flew his body in the military jet to where he's going to be laid to rest. And I started thinking, okay, I got nothing against Charlie. But you guys ever notice how politicians and important people, when a politician dies or an ex-president dies, you taxpayers, you stupid fools, are going to pay $100 million for that funeral because all the politicians show up. They got military parade. And guess who pays for that? You taxpayers. Okay, you fools that vote for them. You don't get that. Your family doesn't get that. When you or your family die, nobody cares. The government's not going to care. They don't give a shit about you. You're just nothing but a peasant. You're a taxpayer. Okay? When they die, they get it all. Okay? You ever notice that when a police officer gets killed in the line of duty, a big parade, 20,000 cops. Police, they just work for the government anyway. The justice system is corrupt as shit. Any of you that don't know that, if you ever get caught up in it, you'll know what I'm talking about. Anyway, look at this guy. What are you doing, man? You're interrupting my video. Anyway, where was I? Now he's gonna wag his tail at me. Anyway, man, he's a distraction. Anyway, if you notice that whenever a cop kills or a cop dies, they got a big parade, costs the taxpayers $20 million. Now, if that same cop were to kill somebody innocent, nothing. Okay, in fact, the family, that innocent person gets nothing. They're not even going to be on the news most likely. The news only covers a dead cop. The family is going to try to sue the city, and then the city is going to fight back because they don't want to pay. They don't want to pay that. Even though they're not paying it, because if they got to pay for anything, it comes out of the taxpayer's wallet. So it really doesn't matter anyway. The city doesn't pay shit. It's all tax money that they use to pay the bills. Your money, slave. That's what it is. So, but that's what I mean. It sort of pisses me off. The king and queen, Charles, and all these other vampire, tyrant, freaking demons. Same shit. They die, and they get, millions and millions and millions of followers cry and pout. You're brain dead. You have no idea why you're crying because you think these people are God when actually they work for Satan. You know, that's how dumbed down you are. That's how stupidly dumbed down society is. You worship these world leaders. You vote for these world leaders. Okay? That's how dumbed down you really are. But anyway, you know, Charlie, I seen him being flown, and I started thinking, yeah, exactly. You know, some people get a funeral for it costs millions and millions and millions of dollars, and the rest of us peasants, we don't get shit. When we die, or if we're killed by a cop, you know, and we're innocent, we don't get shit. Okay? We don't get nothing. That's because you're on the bottom of the shithole down here. You get your ass to work. You pay your taxes. If you don't, we're going to put you in jail. You guys know where I'm going, right? Absolutely. What a shame that you poor sheep are so dumbed down that you allow these governments to rule your world and your children's world and your family's world. Nobody stands up. Nobody does nothing because you're too damn dumbed down and stupid. You don't know any better. Okay, there's animals out there like that squirrel I just had on my camera. He's smarter than you. He's smarter than most people. He's not ruled by a government. He doesn't pay taxes. He lives off the land like the Indians does and collects nuts and lives free. Real freedom, these animals. Okay, not like you dumbed down humans who don't have a damn clue about what you do or what you allow. Yay. Anyway, guys, I've said enough. Peace out. Take care. God bless. Keep your eyes on Christ. Follow his way. It's the only way out. You're living in Satan's world. The only way out of here is down that straight and narrow path. That's it. That's the only way out. Because there's no other way. That's your way out before you die. Peace.